Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you don't take a break, the break will take you. It is Monday morning. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. I'm your man, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. So glad that you're in the space, in this place. We're ready to do this thing again, and I'm so glad that you're here. Jessica, welcome to the show. John, welcome to the show. Or L4587, welcome to the show. So glad that you all are here. Did you miss me? Maybe you did. I don't know if you did or not, but listen, I'm going to talk to you a little bit this morning about the power of the pause, the need for a reset, why I was gone for a little while, and why I'm back, baby. Let's jump on in to the Monday Mindset Movement this morning. Come on, let's do it. Whoops. Had the music muted a little bit this morning. Hey, y'all, listen, it's been a little bit. OMG. Do me a favor. If you are in the chat with us this morning, just give me a shout out so I can shout you out. Just want to say, hey, today is President's Day. If you're in the United States, today's President's Day. If you're in Canada, it's just a regular Monday. If you are in Mexico, Argentina, Bolivia, Colombia, London, it is a regular Monday. Or maybe you are in Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Namibia. Yeah, maybe you're in all of those places at the same time. So glad that you're here. My gosh, I feel like I do not even know what to do anymore because it's been just a little bit. So let's jump on into this thing. The power of a pause, the power of a reset. Yeah. I don't know how many of you have ever felt like you needed a pause or a reset. I don't know how many of you have ever felt like you needed a moment. My wife says that to me sometimes. Babe, I just need a moment. Yeah. I started out the show saying, if you don't take a break, the break will take you. Yeah. And I know that personally because when we talk about the break taking you, it is sometimes a physical reminder. It's a physical reminder of what's happening in your life and in your business. So I had been speaking. I've been speaking for several weeks in a row. And I know that I needed a break. I knew that I needed a little bit of a moment. But I felt like I just couldn't afford to take one at the time. I had a lot of different things happening. I had some different things coming up. I was focusing on getting better or moving forward or whatever it was. I was focused on that thing. And I just was going. I don't know if you've ever had that moment in your life. You're just going. Maybe your kids have all of the activities. Maybe your work and your church and your school and your PTA and all that stuff is lifing at the same time. But you just felt like you needed to keep going. That was where I was. I felt like I needed to keep going. And I kept looking and saying, oh yeah, I got this break coming up. I got a break coming up. But my body was saying, dude, you need to pause for a moment. And I didn't listen. And then one evening, I got home and I started to feel these shivers. Y'all know the shivers I'm talking about, right? Your body's starting to shudder. Your body's getting a little bit cold and it's not really cold. You're starting to feel the wigglies. You're starting to feel everything going wrong at the same time. right? And I lay in bed that evening and I could not move. I couldn't do anything. You see, I was going. I'm telling everybody yes. I'm telling everybody yes. I'm telling everybody yes until my body said no. You see, our bodies tell us when we need to pause. All right. Good morning, Abhishek. How you doing this morning? Good to see you. Our bodies tell us that sometimes we need to pause. We need to stop. Because here's what happens, right? Here's what happens. When we don't pause, we think, okay, yeah, we get sick, right? We think we get sick. Actually, before I go into that for a second, I just wanted to show off something really quickly. If you're watching the show this morning, make sure that you go ahead and share the show. Yes, I wanted to hold those up. Make sure that you go ahead and share the show. You go over to the YouTube channel and you subscribe to the show. And make sure that when you subscribe to the show, you hit that notification bell so that you can know when we're going live. All right. If you want to get live text notifications, go to 240-557-8679. 240-557-8679. Text live and we'll text you when we're going live. All right. So yes, back to the show. So when our bodies tell us that it's time for a pause or a reset, it is not just that we get sick or that we get the flu like I did, right? There's something physical, there's something chemical that happens inside of that space. There's something that happens. There's several different things that happen. So one of the things that happens, one item that happens is cortisol overload. Now, if you don't know what cortisol is the hormone or the chemical in our body that causes fight or flight. It's our stress hormone. It tells us to, oh my gosh, you got to be aware. It tells us, oh my gosh, I'm excited. It tells us, oh my gosh, something's about to happen, right? It prepares us, right? That's the chemical in your body. That's like, if you're not paying attention, it says, bing, get ready. That's what cortisol is. So cortisol, when you have that cortisol going, it causes your blood to pump faster. It causes your heart to pump faster. It causes anxiety in your body, right? It increases the stress response in your body. And in some cases, that's a good thing. Your body needs to know, OMG, I need to move in order to save you sometimes. But when you have that cortisol, imagine pouring hot water on something for a long time. After a while, it begins to boil, right? So when you have cortisol constantly moving or constantly pumping into your body, you begin to get that high blood pressure. Your blood pressure stays high. Your anxiety levels remain high. And after a while, that can lead to a lot of physical stuff in your body. That can lead to memory loss. It's even said that leads to cancer, right? When your cortisol in your body is overloading. The second thing that happens is what we call dopamine depletion, right? When we don't pause, we get what we call dopamine depletion. And dopamine is that chemical in your body that creates joy. When I enjoy something, when I love something, when I'm motivated, when I'm inspired, my body releases dopamine. That's what helps with that. And so when your dopamine is depleted, you struggle to find joy even in some of the things that you love. I remember I used to love listening to and playing music. I could sit at my keyboard for hours and compose and do all sorts of stuff. And then when I was in this place where I was getting stressed, when my anxiety levels were super high, the thing that I loved, I didn't want to do as much. As a matter of fact, I didn't even want to listen to music at the time because my dopamine levels were depleted. I was doing too much. I struggle to find joy in music. So cortisol overload, dopamine depletion, and what I call creativity cratering, right? And what's a crater? That's this dip when an asteroid or something impacts. There's a dip in the level, right? And so creativity craters. Creativity, you're not able to solve problems as much. You're not able to be as innovative because your mind is jumbled. Everything's happening in your brain at the same time. Or maybe nothing's happening in your brain at that time because you just have too much other stuff, too many other chemicals in there that are blocking your creativity. We also have we also hit what we call relationship roadblocks. You've got these emotions, these ideas, these feelings that are happening. And because you are anxious, because you're stressed out, you're not able to connect with your relationships in the same way. You're not able to deal with any of the conflict or the challenges in your relationships in the same way because you're stressed out. You're stressed out. And then the last thing is burnout becomes your baseline. Burnout becomes the level that you see everything from. Right. And so I want you to think about not just, oh, I'm tired and I need to take a break. I want you to think about what happens internally when you decide or when you don't decide to take a break. Judy Schneidman, good to see you this morning. I want you to think about what internally happens when you don't decide to take a break. I'll tell you what happens with me and what I've got, what I'm working on still. I don't want to come here and say, okay, yeah, Robert's got it all together. I'm still working on some stuff. Last year, somewhere around the October, November timeframe, there were different things that were happening in life and business for me. And I said, hey, you know what? It's coming up to the holiday season. I'm going to take a break. So I decided I had a podcast at the time. I still have a podcast, but I had a podcast. We had some guests lined up and I rescheduled the guests because I needed to take a break. And then I had the Monday Mindset Movement show. And I said, let me pause during the holiday season so that I can reset, recalibrate, refresh, rejuvenate, take a break. And I did that. And I said, all right, I'm going to start again on January 1st or the first Monday in January. And then we came to the first Monday in January and I just didn't feel mentally ready. And so I said, I'm going to take a break this week and we'll start up next week. And the next week came and I didn't feel mentally ready. I wasn't depressed. But I just internally didn't feel mentally ready, or I didn't feel internally ready. And that's the thing. Be attuned or be aware of what's happening internally, because sometimes that can give you a clue to other things that are coming down the road. Listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to what you are feeling. And sometimes that means you take a break. Sometimes it means you share with somebody else what's going on in your space. Sometimes it means you need to release in some way. Sometimes it just means that you need to rest and reset. And here's the thing, for me, January and February this year were particularly busy seasons. Typically in January, February, in my speaking business, I do a few things, but I'm not always traveling as much. I traveled quite a bit in January and February so far. And I needed, without me knowing it, a moment to reset. There are different things that are happening in my life and in my kids' space. My kids are transitioning through different seasons, and I need to be able to help them navigate some of those seasons as well. So I needed the reset. And the third week of January came and I wasn't ready. And the fourth week of January came and I wasn't ready. And the first week of February came and I wasn't ready. But then the second week of February came and I said, okay, I feel ready. And so I took the time to pause and reset. And I want to share with you that resetting is important, because it's impossible to do your best if you're not at your best. Sometimes we look at the world's greatest athletes. I remember watching Usain Bolt in the World Championships or in the Olympics. And when Usain Bolt, there were times where Usain Bolt lost. And when he lost, you were like, "Oh my gosh, the decline has started. He's going down. He's getting older." And then he would come back and he win another race. And you were like, "Why didn't he win?" And he said, "Well, I wasn't at my best. I needed to take a break. I needed to step away for a moment. I needed to train differently. My body needed to recover." And so when his body recovered, then he came back and he won the races and he was at his best. Hey, Natasha, how you doing this morning? Yes, resetting is certainly important, right? It's impossible to do your best if you're not at your best. And here's the thing about this. You might trick yourself into thinking that what you're up to is great because other people are saying thank you, or other people are saying, "Yes, that was good. Yes, I needed that." But for you, you're not at your best. You're being depleted. We are depleted every day without us even recognizing it or realizing it. And here's what happens. We get depleted. We get depleted. Our kids pull from us. Our job pulls from us. Our relationship pulls from us. You're walking down the street and the world pulls from you. You watch TV, you get on social media, and all of that pulls from you. And it drains you and it takes little bits out of you. And then you go when you try to pour and you try to pour into other people. You try to be nice. You try to take care of this responsibility. You do all these things. And after a while, your cup becomes empty and you begin to continue pouring, or you continue to pour, and that cup is empty. And when you are pouring from an empty cup, nothing gets filled up. It's physically impossible. If you are pouring from an empty cup, you're giving ghost inspiration. You're giving phantom motivation. If you're pouring from an empty cup, nothing gets filled up. And here's the thing about our world and our life. More often than not, most times, the world won't tell you that you're empty or that you're not doing well. I'll say that one more time for those of you who didn't hear it. Most times, more often than not, the world will not tell you that you're not doing well, or that you're pouring from an empty cup. The world is built to take care of itself. Everybody else, they're mostly concerned about what is happening in their space. There are few people whose job it is to tell you that you're not doing well. Your doctor, your therapist, spouse, best friend. You got a few of those. But the majority of the people around you, the majority of the people that are pulling from you, are not going to tell you that you're not doing well unless it impacts them. If you're at a job and you're not performing well, they tell you that you're not performing well when it impacts them. But if you're just performing okay and you're not at your best, they're not going to tell you that you're not performing well. As a matter of fact, they might tell you that you're not performing well, but they won't tell you why. And the day that you find out is the day that you get let go. And guess what? When you get let go, the posting goes up immediately and you get replaced. Most times, the world will not tell you that you're not doing well. The world will not tell you that you need to take a reset. So the world is built to take care of itself, and you need to do the same. Taking care of you starts with you. Taking care of you starts with you. So before I end, or as we end, I just want to ask you the question. When do you reset? When do you reset? If you have not been intentional about that, I want to ask you to start doing that today. When do you reset? When is your Sabbath? When do you take the time to reflect and let your body internally and externally reset? When do you let those levels, those cortisol levels, those dopamine levels, those mental levels, when do you let those levels level off? I haven't done this in a bit, and I'm a big proponent of this, but I had not done a personal retreat in a while. And when I say a personal retreat is when I walk or when I leave, I get an Airbnb, I get a hotel, I do something, I move, I get out of my main environment, and I spend at least one full 24-hour period away, just by myself, doing whatever I want. It could be nothing. It could be a few things. It's whatever. It's not scheduled. It's not organized. It's just a retreat. It could be thoughtful time. It could be work time. It's whatever I want it to be. And I'd gotten away from doing that. I used to do them every quarter or a couple times a year, and I got away from doing that. But the other day I said, you know what, dude, you need to get back to your personal retreat. And so I got on my calendar and I scheduled them out for the year. Scheduled them out. My next step, okay, reserve the Airbnbs or reserve the hotels. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months in advance, reserve them. I'm getting back to my personal retreats. I'm being more intentional about my reset moments. David Steindl Rast says, pauses take a brief moment, and yet they seem to decompress time and center you. Pauses, resetting, centers you, and changes how you view time. Take the time to reset, people. I don't know if you got the message today, but I'll repeat one of the statements that I made earlier. When you pour from an empty cup, nothing gets filled up. When you pour from an empty cup, nothing gets filled up. So make sure that you take time to refill your cup, to reset, to rejuvenate, to refresh, to renew. That's the message this Monday morning. Take time to pause. Take time to reset. Hey, y'all, join me in the story speaking and what's that group? Yeah. Join me in the story speaking and sales growth community. Head on over to learnwithrk3.com /3S community. Yeah, go to go to learnwithrk3.com /3S community, or you can just visit me, robertkennedy3.me, and you will see the community information there. All right. Remember, you don't get to start if you never stop. Be intentional about your stops. Embrace the unplanned stops and keep yourself and your eyes focused. Keep moving forward. Remember that you're not competing. The only one in your race is you. I'll see you next Monday for the Monday Mindset Movement. Peace.